also being the only child, so the responsibility come on my shoulders. So I took that. Honestly, I left the preparation at that point. I thought that it is not my calling and I should focus more on my business part. Quota, it was like a mental torture, honestly, if I put it in a straight words. Because, sir, I believe that I was lacking on the social vocabulary. Like, just
Hmm.
every subject have a vocab. One have to be very much choosy in as per their own capabilities.
So, hi Priyanshu, welcome. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, sir. I'm doing fine. So, a big thanks to you too to help me in my journey, especially with guiding in initial mains exam. So, a big thanks to you, sir.
Thank you for that. मतलब उसके बारे में भी बात करेंगे. But Priyanshu, let's just begin with a little brief about your UPSC journey. कि भी कितने अटेम्प्ट आपने दिए, कब से आप तैयारी कर रहे हैं, and something about that.
Sir, so I finished my BTech in 2020, and then it was a COVID year. So, I have to join my family business because the health was not good at my
Hmm.
home. So, also being the only child, so the responsibility come on my shoulders. So, I took that. But then started UPSC in 2021, sir.
Hmm.
So not honestly not much studies down that line. 3 4 months written prelims. Luckily got cleared by some all those tricks
Hmm.
tips like that mathematical formulation that what can work for me. Then a serious study started since I failed in mains. So I got those time clear my conceptual clarity. But
Hmm.
22 was total shocker. I
Hmm.
was actually expecting a good marks in prelims, but my name was not in the list.
Hmm.
So that was a big backlash. And honestly, I left the preparation at that point. I thought that it is not my calling and I should focus more on my business part.
Hmm.
But one thing that carried on that I developed that curiosity to read more, to understand. So started reading raw things like newspaper as a daily habit, magazines, or some started reading people, those who I come to know that they are good, specifically few editors. I started following them regularly.
Hmm.
And in 2023, without taking much of stress, I just sit in the exam, and luckily I got 442 at that time. Then this year I repeated again and I got 123 rank. So that's the
So
improvement.
first attempt you gave mains, didn't clear mains. Second attempt में prelims fail. Third attempt में you got a rank. सो अब जैसे इसके बीच में यू वर योरसेल्फ सेइंग कि सेकंड अटेम्प्ट के बाद आपको लगा कि यार छोड़ो यार, क्या कर रहे हैं, क्यों कर रहे हैं. तो व्हाट गॉट यू हियर, बिकॉज यू कम फ्रॉम अ बिजनेस फैमिली एंड जनरली मतलब मेरे से जब मैं तैयारी कर रहा था, मेरे से कोई पूछता है यार कि भाई को फैमिली वाला बैकअप है क्या ऐसा, मैं बहुत राजी होकर चला जाता वहां पे. बिकॉज यू नो इट, इट्स अ लाइक हार्ड जर्नी, यू हैव टू मतलब कॉन्स्टेंटली पुश योर सेल्फ, मोटिवेट योर सेल्फ. तो लाइक व्हाट वाज इट दैट मोटिवेटेड यू टू बी अ सिविल सर्वेंट?
Sir, I think those could be seen from my grassroots. Like I've been a quota student.
हम्म.
So in quota, it was like a mental torture, honestly, if I put it in a straight words. So honestly, I've seen people attempting suicides near my room.
हम्म.
So I think I have developed that strength and those understanding that focusing mental health is way above your exams.
हम्म.
So in second attempt, when I got those feeling of isolation and loss, I actually jumped directly to mental health counselors or psychiatrists. So I reached out them
हम्म.
because one have to be very normal to reach out to them. I think we need to break those social
It
taboos
is, it
of
is. It's
not talking
absolutely.
of mental health. So when I got to them, they said that I need to change my air. My air has been too much suffocated with UPSC preparation. So
Hmm.
they said that don't directly jump to any conclusion. Take a different breath of air. Start focusing on hobbies because
Hmm.
they must not be just written in DAF 2. They must be
Hmm.
followed also. So
True.
I picked up my hobbies. I started looking up to the interest that I have. I started talking back to people like the one biggest torture which we ourselves create in UPSC prep that we shunt ourselves from the world.
Hmm.
So I started talking to people, doing business, and simultaneously studying based on my curiosity, my interest,
Hmm.
and pushing the capabilities in last 2 3 months for the exam. So those were my time, those were my learning that has actually helped me to look beyond the exam results and feel more confident and motivated that even if I fail, I don't fall in those trap of poverty of aspirations. So this is
I
how I
think that's
control
a
my.
very, very holistic way to look at this, and I think this is also something that is coming up with Gen Z. You belong to that generation which has it, I would say, as a मतलब कल्चरल फोर्स विद इन इट कि भाई अगर आपको मेंटल हेल्थ में प्रॉब्लम लग रहा है तो प्लीज टेक थेरेपी, डोंट बी शाय अबाउट इट, एंड आई एब्सोल्युटली एग्री विद यू दैट इसके अराउंड जो बैरियर्स हैं दे शुड बी ब्रोकन डाउन, दे शुड बी अ लॉट मोर एक्सेसिबल, क्योंकि हमारे टाइम में नहीं होता था। हमारे टाइम में आई थिंक इवन इन IIT वी यूज्ड टू हैव अ काउंसलर, एंड people used to make fun of you if you went to the counselor. मतलब somebody could be going through something very serious, but taking therapy was seen as कि अबे कैसा क्या है क्यों है, which is something जो सही नहीं था उस समय, and now that in your generation these things are breaking down, I feel really glad about that. तो
Thank
भैया
you so much.
जो बिजनेस आप कर रहे थे, क्या बिजनेस कर रहे थे?
Sir, actually, we have a industry, so it was like a 20 years old business, and we were like one of the veterans there.
ओके।
So we were in the packaging plastic industry. So we generally like print and package the material, and companies, those are a food industry, they generally filled it up in a last. So for example, if a kurkure packet is being printed and prepared by us, and they just fill it up in the last. So that kind of work we do. And honestly, sir, I was myself a mechanical engineer from NIT Allahabad. So we study all those concepts of production management and all those plant efficiency. So I thought, let's use those knowledge in my plant, make it more efficient, so that even if I have to leave the job, leave my business, so my father can run it like there are concepts like working 2 days a week. So autopiloting a business, even I pitched this startup, this idea of autopiloting in my real interview, and they said that okay, that is good that you are a responsible kid. So that
आई
helped
थिंक
me
दैट्स अ वेरी
also, sir.
नाइस वे टू लुक एट इट। क्यों? क्योंकि देखो, कहीं ना कहीं यू आर गोइंग टू बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर दैट बिजनेस ऑल्सो, बिकॉज योर फैमिली का बिजनेस है, एंड आपके पेरेंट्स ने इतना बड़ा करके आपको दिया है, तो वो भी चाहेंगे कि भाई ये चलता रहे, होता रहे। तो आपने जो ऑटोमेट किया जिस लेवल पे, मतलब वट एवर एफिशिएंसीज यू कुड हैव क्रिएटेड, आई थिंक दैट्स अ वेरी गुड थिंग।
Yes, sir.
तो फिर मतलब यू जस्ट फॉलोड योर क्यूरियोसिटी एंड देन यू जंप बैक इन फॉर योर थर्ड अटेम्प्ट।
Yes, sir.
In 2023, you gave your third attempt, and I think we met after you had already secured a rank in your third attempt.
Yes, sir.
So you had reached out to me and you said कि सर मतलब मेंस में कुछ हेल्प चाहिए, क्या चाहिए, तो मतलब how did you find out about us? What was the idea?
Sir, actually, what I have understood from 2023 attempt is that when we have to fine tune to improve the rank, we
Hmm.
have to actually move out from what is called a general study and to
Hmm.
more specification, because then the game comes of value addition and also
Hmm.
ensuring that we are getting those extra edges. So I could identify that somewhere things like my essay is not
Hmm.
that fine tuned. I was not actually able to structure it in a manner that it has to be done.
Hmm.
Also, sir, adding the values and answers specifically in GS4.
Hmm.
So when I have seen your different videos and also the Ayan Jain's video that there you have talked about how we have to actually structure things up and how we have to ensure that we at those points to get those lead of few 5 or 10 marks to
Hmm.
get that jump. So that through that I reached to you, and sir, you have seen my essay. They were very raw, and you could have actually sensed it up. You said that there's a lot of structure missing it out.
Hmm.
So we had lot of video calls, and we have discussed it one to one. So I think that point has actually helped me a lot, because no matter what the marks come later on, it is about the
Hmm.
confidence that we carry in exam. So I was not that feared of essay writing ki like I may fall in very low marks,
Hmm.
I may miss out of the list. I was more confident I could actually finish my essay in 2.5 hours, and then next half an hour or those decoration of copy, making boxes and all that.
ऐसे क्या डेकोरेशन कर रहे थे?
Uh, so I could get those things. So
आई
that
थिंक
has actually
दैट्स अ
helped me.
वेरी कंफर्टेबल प्लेस टू बी इन, कि मतलब
Yes,
तुमने
sir.
आधा घंटा पहले खत्म कर लिया तो फिर तुमको टेंशन नहीं रहती है, फिर तुम 10 चीज देखते हो कि अच्छा अंडरलाइन करना था, हाँ अंडरलाइन कर देते हैं, डब्बे बनाने हैं, ये करना है, तो दैट्स अ वेरी गुड थिंग। सो प्रियांशु, वी ऑब्वियसली टॉक्ड अ लॉट अबाउट एसेज, एंड होपफुली मतलब जब आपकी मार्कशीट आती है तो यू हैव सम इम्प्रूवमेंट देयर। डू शेयर योर मार्कशीट वंस इट कम्स ऑल्सो, आई वुड ऑल्सो लाइक टू सी कि भाई क्या हुआ क्या नहीं हुआ, क्योंकि पर्सनली आई फील टीचिंग और हेल्पिंग पीपल improve with the essay is the hardest thing to do.
Yes, sir.
क्योंकि प्योर राइटिंग है वो, राइट। जीएस में क्योंकि आपको 150 वर्ड और 250 वर्ड होते हैं, तो देन इट्स स्टिल स्लाइटली इजियर, आई वुड से। क्यों? क्योंकि आपके पास स्पेस ही इतना कम है कि भाई हाँ ठीक है, देर आर सम सेट पैटर्न्स दैट यू कैन रिपीट एंड चीजें हो जाती है। जैसे कि आप बोल रहे थे अयान जैन की वीडियो है, तो बहुत स्पेसिफिकली उन्होंने बोला था कि भाई हाँ देखो, मतलब 10 मार्कर है, 10 पॉइंट लिखो, 15 मार्कर है, 15 पॉइंट लिखो। बट दैट्स नॉट द केस विद एसे। सो
Yes, sir.
आई थिंक दैट इज समथिंग दैट इज आइटरेटिव एंड चीजें वहां पे काफी एक्सप्लोर करने लायक रहती है। व्हाट डू यू थिंक?
Also, sir, I remember one thing, earlier that what is the pattern that is going across the market is like, right, political, economic, social. So
पेस्टल
those
वाला।
fixed patterns. Yes, sir.
हम्म।
So pastel is actually, which is actually by written by all of us. Like
हम्म।
most of us are actually writing, and I think I could feel myself on the place of on evaluator.
हम्म।
So at one point he could realize that everybody is writing on a same scale, so he'll be just giving the average marks without even reading the essay. So, like when we had this discussion, so he told me that we have to look beyond that. We
हम्म।
have to actually bring something more nuanced, something which is actually having a link right from starting to end, just like a story flowing. So, I think those small implementations in my essay, moving beyond these pastel
हम्म।
approach or writing like the common we used to write a societal level, family level, or institutional level. So moving out of those, writing in a flow by connecting those one para to another para, just like a simple
हम्म।
flow. I think those small changes have actually given me that confidence and that flow.
So I think part of it was obviously because you are that kind of a candidate who मतलब self introspects a lot. आई थिंक तब भी मैंने आपको एक दो बार बोला था कि भाई आप अपने दिमाग में काफी चलते हो एंड मतलब चलो, वी वर एबल टू हेल्प हाउ एवर वी वर। यू वुड हैव फिगर्ड इट आउट बाय योरसेल्फ इन अनदर ईयर और सो मतलब एक और अटेम्प्ट में भी लग जाता, बट आई थिंक यू वुड हैव फिगर्ड इट आउट। एंड
Yes.
since I think you are giving this year का attempt again, so all the very best to you for that also. I do
Thank you,
hope like you get into the IAS because as you say, IAS ES service तो
sir. Yes, so that was the insider we got when we
हम्म।
joined the services.
So you're
So
currently in the IRMS, right?
yes, sir.
So IRMS में मतलब चलो मतलब वहां पे भी कुछ कुछ चेंजेस आ रहे हैं, बट आई डोंट थिंक यू आर एट लिबर्टी टू डिस्कस देम, तो वी विल नॉट गो देयर। सो प्रियांशु, व्हाट वाज योर ऑप्शनल? वहां पे आपने क्या
So
किया?
my optional was sociology.
हम्म।
Actually, this there's two reasons for having sociology. One is the interconnection that we have in subjects,
हम्म।
and second, sir, I met the DM of Mathura
हम्म।
before doing the preparation and everything. So he said that at the end we have to serve the society.
हम्म।
And sociology is one of those optional that give you the real ground level knowledge.
हम्म।
Because if we don't realize the culture of the people, like how they live, how they behave in social institutions, so we might fail to reach out to them.
Yeah.
So sociology is what the option that I have to.
So how much did you score in your 2023 attempt?
Sir, I scored around an average score of 250 at
हम्म।
that time. GS paper one was my strength, like always. I got 141 there. But
हम्म।
paper two was shocker to me. I got 109 there.
हम्म।
So 250 around at that time.
250 डॉट था ये तो, मतलब अराउंड गया 250 डॉट है।
Yes, sir.
तो आई थिंक यू
Yes,
माइट
sir.
also improve this time around in your optional also क्योंकि स्कोप तो वहां पे
Yes,
था ही।
sir.
So, Matlab, what were the sources that you followed? Where did you learn sociology from? Because you are a mechanical engineer, it's a very different subject. So, what were your sources?
Sir, first of all, earlier, I used to follow the restricted book like everybody read Nitin Salman's books. So one is that. Then selective reading from Harlem Boss and
Hmm.
different books for different concepts like Indian from Ahuja's book. So that was my sources earlier. But the changes that I brought this time is that, sir, one is that we have to move to the new thinkers that are coming up.
Hmm.
So I have started inculcating postmodernist approach a lot. Like last
Hmm.
year, I was very much restricted on Durkheim's theory or functionalist or Marxist approach or
Hmm.
feminist approach. This time, I brought new thought processes like post-structuralism, postmodernism. So apart
So
from
where
that,
did
sir,
you read all of these thinkers from?
Sir, I started reading the book raw. Like earlier, I was reading the
Hmm.
reference books. I just like this time I read Giddens' book, like a raw Giddens' book.
Lovely.
I read Ritzer because, sir, I believe that I was lacking on the social vocabulary. Like just
Hmm.
every subject have a vocab. So
Very
if you
true.
don't read the raw books, you don't appreciate what the language that we have to write.
Hmm.
So I started reading raw. Specifically, sir, I read S.L. Doshi sir's
Hmm.
Rural Sociology. So there he has written in a very sociological language, like the one which have to be written in an exam. Because at the end, those who will be evaluating the copy, they will be expecting us to be on those particular literatures, on
Absolutely
those
true.
particular lines. So moving out of those reference book, those comfort zones, reading
Hmm.
sociology raw, I think that has this time also, I think I could have improved on that part in sociology. Mark sheet is yet to come, but I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
that I
I think
have
you will
done better
definitely
on
have
this.
improved in sociology also. And hopefully you will continue on that path because ये जो चीज़ आपने बोली ना अभी बहुत छोटी सी चीज़ है but like it's a very big thing in the sense that you have to step out of your comfort zone.
Yes,
You
sir.
have to look for like ways to face that critical assessment कि भी ये सही नहीं है, इसको सही करना है, कैसे करें, क्योंकि वो सबके पास की बात ही नहीं होती.
Yes,
So
sir.
हाउ डिड यू डेवलप दैट कैपेसिटी कि भाई मुझे क्रिटिसिज्म चाहिए, क्योंकि देखो एक बार जब रैंक आ जाती है ना तो इंसान अपने आप को खुद से थोड़ा 30 मार्क का समझता है. नेचुरल सी बात है, जब आप इतना फटका खा के और फिर रैंक आती है तो फिर नेचुरली यू फील कि आई हैव डन समथिंग, आई हैव अचीव समथिंग व्हिच इज ट्रू, बट दैट डज नॉट मीन दैट यू कांट लर्न स्टिल. तो व्हाट आई सीन विद अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल इज वंस दे हैव अचीव्ड समथिंग दे फील कि भाई हो गया, सही है, सॉर्ट है, सेट है. हाउ डू यू स्टिल परस्यू दैट फैक्ट कि भाई मुझे अभी भी चीजें सीखनी है, आई नीड टू लर्न मोर, आई नीड टू इम्प्रूव, आई नीड टू ग्रो. वेयर डज दैट कम फ्रॉम?
Sir, by the introspection, I realized that when the game come on very little margin, so that's the time when you have to be more critical about yourself. Because when you know that you can improve on a larger front, so
Hmm.
then you can be softer on yourself because you know that you have to focus on this limited aspect. But when the game comes of very small margins, when you have to improve like 10, 15 marks on every subject, or
Hmm.
specifically for sociology, I was looking for improving by 30, 40 marks.
Hmm.
So we have to be very fine-tuned with our strategy or our approach. So luckily, like my grandfather is a professor in geography. So he has actually written over 50 books of geography. So
Absolutely.
he helped me.
उनका नाम बता सकते हो आप? We would love to check out some.
Dr. KML Agrawal. He
Okay.
is one of the reputed geography professor, and even he is been awarded by President of India earlier also in his time.
Hmm.
So what he helped me around that he has a very good contacts with professors of sociology. So
Hmm.
I met one of the professor and I asked her to see my answers that I was writing. So
Hmm.
she was like, it was like I was just putting sociologist after sociologist, but there's no social understanding that is reflected on my part.
Hmm.
So she suggested me that if possible, just read one of the sociology book because it is totally looking up that a technical student has come up, taken the
Hmm.
sociology and just pouring out points. And I think this strategy was working earlier when very few people were taking sociology from technical background. But
Hmm.
now everybody from technical is going for sociology. So standing out from the crowd is the real game that comes now.
Absolutely
So
true.
when I
Which is the same thing which you said in essay कि वहां जब सब पेस्टल कर रहे हैं तो वो सब सेम चीज दिखाई दे रही है. एंड कमिंग फ्रॉम द अदर साइड ऑफ दिस आल्सो आई हैव इवैल्यूएटेड सोशियोलॉजी पेपर्स आल्सो. तो दिखता है जबकि मतलब कोई एक नॉन टेक्निकल बंदा सोशियोलॉजी लिख रहा होता है ना, तो वो होता है कि जबरदस्ती इन्होंने सेंटेंसेस साथ में चिपका के डाल दिए हैं यहाँ पे क्योंकि इनको थिंकर डालना था, थिंकर का एक काउंटर पॉइंट डालना था तो उन्होंने डाल दिया है. मतलब बट देयर इज
yes sir.
दैट अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ कि भाई व्हाई इज दिस वे, दैट आर्ग्यूमेंट, दैट लॉजिक इज मिसिंग. एंड व्हेन यू सी दैट तो तुम खुद से खुश होते हो कि नहीं इसको नंबर मिलेंगे.
Yes sir. So like there's a very easy saying in sociology: start with definition, write three,
हम्म.
4 points, then two, three criticism, and then conclude.
हम्म.
So, what the ma'am has told me, she was a very high professor. She's in one of the reputed professor in Mathura in herself. So she
हम्म.
told me then when the question is not asking for criticism, then why to write?
हम्म.
And question is not telling you what is marriage. It is asking that how the patterns of marriage are changing. Why to start with defining marriage?
हम्म.
Like you can do it if you don't know it. But if you can directly come to the question, because since you are getting a very restricted word limit, it's
Yeah.
not that you are writing 500, 600 long answers, 150,
Hmm.
250 words. In 20 markers, you have those leverage where you can write definitions, start very with all those language. But in 150, come hit straight the answers. She said
Hmm.
that even in intro, you can come upon with one of the point, with one of the thinkers. She has suggested me that for you to get the lead, it's best to start with the modern changes that are coming up, with the
Hmm.
postmodern fluidity that is being seen. It either you can quote Zygmunt Bauman
Hmm.
studies or liquid modernity or something like that. If you can come upon from the sociological understanding right from the intro,
Hmm.
that will make the reader more more interested to read or answer further. Because if everybody will write Malinowski's definition of marriage, so he or she would be knowing it, what will
Hmm.
be coming next up. So those
एब्सोल्युटली ट्रू। आई
changes.
थिंक ये जो सरप्राइज वाली चीज आप बोल रहे हो ना, दिस इज, क्योंकि अब होता यही है, जो इवेल्युएटर है वो 50 कॉपी चेक कर रहा है।
Yes, sir.
And उनको कोई मतलब नहीं है कि आप कौन, आपके एस्पिरेशंस क्या, क्यों, कैसे। उनको बस है कि भाई मतलब हाउ आर यू एंटरटेनिंग मी। एंड व्हेन वी सी समथिंग वेरी डिफरेंट व्हिच यू आर सेइंग कि जिगमंड बॉमन, वेरी फ्यू पीपल राइट।
Yes, sir.
तो भाई बॉमन का आप डेफिनेशन दे रहे हो और आप कुछ नए थिंकर्स लेके आ रहे हो जो कि सही है, क्योंकि अब कभी कभार ऐसा होता है कि भाई नाम यूज करने के चक्कर में लोग रैंडम भी यूज कर देते
That
हैं।
is the issue.
तो वो ना करके अगर आप ठीक जगह पे ठीक चीज को इस्तेमाल करते हो, तो आई थिंक द मोस्ट पावरफुल थिंग दैट यू कैन डू, बिकॉज इट डिफरेंशिएट्स यू, इट टेल्स द एग्जामिनर दैट यस दिस पर्सन नोज। एंड एज यू से, वो थोड़ा स्टैंड आउट जब आप करते हो, तो वो थोड़े स्टैंड आउट नंबर आपको मिलते हैं।
Yes, sir. And even, sir, in Indian sociology, where we generally lag, what she have observed that we miss on examples. Like
हम्म।
Indian sociology must not be just about Indian sociological thinkers. Question on caste, and if there's no examples of caste being quoted around you, like if you're not giving some studies which are done on field, so
हम्म।
then it will look like that, okay, you have some here their knowledge and you're just beating around the bush.
हम्म।
But if you directly, like she told me, you can always quote Aptiston studies on Adi Karnatakas.
हम्म।
She is the one who has done it. Or Betel study, we can directly write. So rather than just putting thinkers, if you can give more examples and
हम्म।
make the point in a very easy language, it works.
हम्म।
But she also told me to be very cautious. You cannot be one who can fool us on writing sociologist.
या।
Like in specifically in Indian sociology, we write M.N. Srinivas and quoting all sort of random stuff. So this generally don't work. So ma'am said we generally do PhD on what sir has taught us in M.N. Srinivas work.
हम्म।
And we have all for 20 years just reading Srinivas sir, and then you are coming up with all sort of random points and you are thinking that you can go away with that.
हम्म।
Well, that does not work here. You have to either you know it. If you don't know it,
हम्म।
let the Priyanshu reflect on the answer sheets. We are
Absolutely.
much happier to do that. We can give you, if we are not able to give you 6 or 7 out of 10, at least you'll get 5. But if you write something random, we sometimes even give -1 or 2. Like if we get so much irritated, if you are
हम्म।
doing it
Again and
continuously
again.
one
हाँ।
after one, we actually go for negative marking. So
हम्म।
she told me that. So
So
I
that's
just
great
feel
insight.
cautious.
Thank you for sharing that. So प्रियांश,
Yes, sir.
पे भी एक और बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीज आपने बोली, you let Priyanshu reflect on the page.
Yes, sir.
What did you mean by that?
Sir, what she said that sociology is not the subject where nobody knows about anything. You
हम्म।
know something about everything in sociology. And what we generally misses out that we don't write that something we know about everything.
हम्म।
What we are in the race, like if we are writing 10 points, have to reflect at least 8 sociological thinkers.
हम्म।
If she was telling if you can just write 4 thinkers and 4 points about yourself, like even if everybody is from some caste, because we are not born in India, we are born in caste.
Yeah.
So she said that if you can just write about your own caste, you know what the pattern is all about.
हम्म।
And not even that tough things. If you know about simple marriages, you know that India intercaste is a problem. And you
हम्म।
can just quote your some examples like that. Have you seen in your society being because every day, if she was telling in a very joking manner, like if you even open a Hindi newspaper,
हम्म।
so it is always full of sociological examples.
Yeah.
People are actually like even sati practices, some examples out of there, or even some women issues are coming out there.
Hmm.
So if you can just reflect those short examples, those short experiences that you have seen in your life, so at least we get to know, ki, okay, this man is pure. This
Hmm.
student is pure. Has not just read from book. He has actually appreciated sociology out around the society.
He has
So
observed.
that helps. Yes, sir. He was actually not just reading for exam. He was actually one who was
Hmm.
taking the learning from the subjects. So that small points actually help us to know that okay, you have read the subject in a right sense. So those are the things that she has told me.
I think absolutely wonderful discussion from you on sociology, which makes me want to ask you, कि अच्छा GS में फिर like what were the things that you had in your head कि between your third and your fourth attempt, what were the things that you kept common कि भी ऐसे ये चीजें ठीक हैं चल रही हैं, and what were the things that you changed and improved?
Sir, like I got a good marks in GS4 constantly. I was getting 190, 150 in my
Hmm.
attempt. So I thought my strategy
150.
was 115, sir.
अच्छा
119 and
115.
115.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I was good that I know कि now for those extra 10 marks where I could actually work is that I could add some examples like shlokas or something which many
Hmm.
of the people were adding.
Hmm.
But more over what my copies always have is the good amount of examples because ethics have to be very much like it cannot be just a raw answer writing.
Hmm.
You have to have good amount of examples and substantiation to show that you have actually understood that how one could appreciate those concepts. So this time around, what I have improved that I've started quoting around the books like second ARC reports,
Hmm.
whether like this time the paper was more on a technical aspect. They were not asking about the simple ethics. It was more on a technical aspect. So
Applied
quoting
ethics.
second
Hmm.
applied ethics. So, and also like they were asking very straight questions, like what are the
Hmm.
determinants or characteristics like of ethics. So, if we are just beating around the bush, we might not get the marks because those who are evaluating, they know what are those 5 points, five,
Hmm.
10 points that has to be reflected.
Hmm.
Also, sir, a small change is like generally what we do, we just started writing on a loose end, but with the
Hmm.
competition getting intense, if we are writing question on uh, emotional intelligence, we have to bring up on the 5 points of Goldman or something who have done the technical aspects of ethics. So those fine tuning I did. I
Hmm.
started more putting more thinkers on that aspects or
Hmm.
Indian ethics that are being reflected from Indian saints, Indian philosophers.
Hmm.
Those things I have started adding. Apart from that, so GS 1, 2, 3. First of all, sir, a very word of cautious. It's a general studies paper. Generally, we tend to reflect optionals. Like I have sociology, so my society last year was all Durkheim and Marx and everything.
Hmm.
So later I thought might be a geography professor evaluating, he would be thinking like he is from
Hmm.
sociology, so therefore he shows off his knowledge.
Hmm.
So word of caution, let's not showcase our optional knowledge. We have to write plain answers so that the person who are evaluating does not evaluate in that sense he is the master of the subject.
Hmm.
So one thing is that, and so what general studies, what I've understood, either reading topper's copy or understanding what those who have earlier done good, is that they are quoting a lot. They are putting a
Hmm.
lot of examples. They are not just writing arguments, they are substantiating a lot.
Hmm.
So I moved out of those habit writing a lot of points, arguments after arguments. I've
Hmm.
started substantiating those. So those were the small changes that I have taken on this attempt. And also, sir, like in GS3,
Hmm.
making graphs is one of the things that I was not doing earlier. But if the competition is doing it, you have to push your limits. You have to
Hmm.
come out of the comfort zone. You have to start putting those graphs in geography map in every question.
Hmm.
That was, I remember, answer was telling earlier. He was making maps in every question. So if I have to
So,
fight the
any
competition with him,
particular sort of toppers that you refer to quite a lot that you would like to share?
sir, I read a lot about Animesh Pradhan. I think we were friends also. Like I met him in the service also.
Hmm.
So he has those good witty kind of points. So I pick up that from him. Ayan's approach specifically with respect to getting those value addition, making maps, graphs, something like that. So those points have helped me a lot. Apart from that, sir, there are few sociology toppers who have
Hmm.
made a lot of compilations of good examples. So I
Hmm.
directly picked it up from the Telegram channel and
Could you give me some
started
names?
quoting it. I'm forgetting. I think it was Vaishaka, somebody like
Vishakha
that.
Yadav.
Yes, yes. I
Hmm.
think she was the one who has made a page. She has made a
Hmm.
good compilation of examples. So I have directly picked it up. I used those examples directly. They were like very relevant examples.
Hmm.
So, like I remember there was one example like Corona Devi Temple, studying
Oh
of
yeah.
Darkhind. Yeah, so about sacred and profanism. So
Hmm.
whenever the question comes, so such kind of examples and getting those leads directly from toppers have actually helped me to get that acceleration in this attempt. Sir.
So I think that's absolutely awesome. And so Priyanshu, if you had to give one piece of advice to somebody who's just starting preparation, कि वे पहला attempt देने जा रहे हैं, let's say 26 में या maybe 25 में, so what is it that you would advise to them?
Sir, first and foremost is that prioritize your mental health. Like, don't give up on your health. There will be sleepless nights. There will be time when things will not go as per your plans.
Hmm.
So always keep those flexibility. Give yourself those days when you are totally out of studies, talking to friends, going out on a food, or just doing all sort of bakkar. Just give yourself those days because what we generally have those tendencies reading as per the clock, reading for straight 1 month. So these
Hmm.
techniques generally fail.
Hmm.
Uh, First is that one have to be very much choosy in
Hmm.
as per their own capabilities. Let's not study by time. Let's study as per the topics that we are planning to finish it up on that particular day. And second, use the morning in a very right manner. In the morning, if you can jot down the points what you are actually planning to do today, so that you will always be on the track and you don't get diverted because there are plethoras of subjects. There are a lot of things. You are always have those tendency to go
Hmm.
for new subjects, and restricting on materials.
Hmm.
Once you have chosen कि I'll be reading Lakshmikant, stay on to it. Whether the questions are coming or not, it's a very different ball game.
Hmm.
Because once your fundamentals are clear, once your concepts are clear, you will be able to apply it. But if you're reading material after material, like if you read fundamental right from five different books, it
Hmm.
will be like reading from one book at the end because just 1 or 2 points will come extra and you're not assured that those points will be asked in exam.
Hmm.
So that is very important that you have to have a wide coverage, not just a depth coverage of the topic, because at the end those things will come and they will be handy in exams. So these are the tips for the newcomers.
And any tips specifically with regards to prelims that you can give?
So prelims for me is all about the mathematics. People generally take it as an exam of doing right, wrong, but for me it's always a maths. So for example, if we put upon that near about a cutoff will be around 100 for general category, so it's
Hmm.
like getting 50 odd correct. So
Hmm.
to got 50 odd correct, one has to strategize like what is my ratio of how much I get correct in when I'm taking those tukkas or when
Hmm.
I'm planning on those probability. So if you are very assured of answers, count them in. Like if you know 30 answers right, then you are always in game.
Hmm.
30 right, that means 60 marks is always assured. Now in 70, you have to pick up those 40 marks.
Hmm.
Then comes your maths that how are you planning? Like if you are assured that I know one of those two options will be there, that is a high probability to get it correct. Or
Hmm.
when you know out of three, there will be one. That are the areas where you have to take chances. And those chances will become more accurate if we do PYQs
Hmm.
because you get because there's always be said that there's one thing called muscle memory. So when
Hmm.
you practice your PYQs, the muscle memory started reflecting on patterns that UPSC is following up on. Like there's very good saying that generally in science and tech, when the question comes on what are the utility of particular concept, generally answers all of these
Hmm.
because we all know at then generally answer fall on those lines. So when you are not very assured and you have to take those chances, so those
Hmm.
muscle memories start reflecting on the paper. So PYQs, doing it again after again will help you to develop those muscle memory, and you have to be very mathematical.
Hmm.
Generally, make a graph at the end of a paper, mark this column 100% assured, 75% assured,
Hmm.
50%, 25 assured. Take the answers that you know. If you are around getting 30 or 25, 30 answers in a 100% assured, that means you are around 50, 60 marks. Then for 40 marks, you can plan which type of questions I have to attempt and those mathematics will fit you to the prelims. So that was my approach, and I hope this worked
I
for
think that's
everyone.
a pretty solid approach. तो इसमें एक चीज अगेन मतलब आप कुछ कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग चीज बोलते हो एंड लाइक आई लाइक पिकिंग थिंग्स अप फ्रॉम देयर. So you said be very calculated with your risk. तो if it getting to 50-50 वाला ऑप्शन आ गया है कि दो ऑप्शन में से आपको एक चूज करना है तो that's a very high probability you should take that risk. Where would you advise people not to take a risk? Were there any particular subjects for you that you generally avoided, or like how can we think about not taking risk in particular areas?
Sir, like with the trend that is going on, people are actually writing around 20, 30 mocks. Like if even a new aspirant come, he gives 20, 30 mocks. So mocks must not be look upon how many marks they are scoring. They could actually sense that this subject is there that is best suited for them to take those chances.
Hmm.
Like whenever I have taken risk in ancient or medieval history, I was 100% wrong. So when I went to the paper, I know कि if I take the
यहाँ पे
test
ज्यादा
on this.
करोगे तो सही नहीं है.
हाँ, so I know कि ठीक है. For me, the paper is not of 100 questions, it is of 90 questions. 10 questions are not printed. I got a misprinting of those ancient medieval paper in me. So I
Hmm.
don't even waste a second. If I know something on the reading first time, I'll do it. If I not, I don't even give a second more to come back and solve them because I know all my preparation have failed me to
Hmm.
get those understanding correct of those topics. So I save time out there. What I've
Hmm.
realized that when doing mocks, we generally make those tendency like if I take a response science and tech or environment, they generally fall on the right pattern.
Hmm.
So then you can have the confidence from those mock tests that okay, these are the subjects on which I can take a probable guesses,
Hmm.
and there are high chances that I can get it correct because I was doing it in my mock test. So somewhere in your subconscious mind, you have actually developed those concepts which are actually coming as an intuition to you.
Hmm.
So follow those intuitions in prelims, and if you are knowing that this subject was a strength in mocks,
Hmm.
then take the guess on those subjects.
I think that's a really wonderful way that you put it, and I completely agree with your assessment over there. Obviously, improvements होती रहेंगी, चलती रहेंगी. So we'll end the session over here. But before we go, so Priyanshu, if you had to recommend a book outside of syllabus for people to read, what book would you recommend?
Sir, I think whenever we join a service, whenever we go to the field, we have to understand that India is still a rural society.
Hmm.
So most of us have actually done a lot of studies in urban cities or have those
Hmm.
urban knowledge. So there's always those dichotomy remains with us when we go to the field. We are actually not able to understand those culture, those
Hmm.
social structures and institutions that are unfolding in the rural society. So there's a book, S.L. Joshi's Rural Sociology.
Hmm.
So that is written very beautifully to understand that how Indian society actually operates at a rural level.
Hmm.
Because at any point of the services, everybody is bound to have a rural posting.
Yeah.
So if we can actually read those books, we could actually make those understanding. Because if we are not attached ourselves to the ground level, we may not be a good civil servant. This is what our senior has told when we were in civil services.
Hmm.
So my request or my plea to everyone who has actually got selected or all those who are having time around, they could actually read more about our Indian society at a very village level or rural sociology if they want, so that they can have those real understanding that what is actually happening on ground.
Hmm.
Because sir, a very good example I know, one of my senior who was actually posted earlier, he's told me like there was some posting in Rajasthan and there was this child marriage was going on very pertinently, and when he went there, he started questioning. He started saying, "I need total ban on day one," and he faced a very bad backlash, and he was almost on the verge of getting shunned. So that
Hmm.
level of because you cannot break the social prejudices on day one.
Hmm.
So for that, you have to actually penetrate at a very inside the village. You
Hmm.
have to understand there is always a locus of control. There's
Hmm.
always a area of sphere. So
Hmm.
identifying who are the true leaders of village, talking out to them, making those understanding, and then to slowly penetrating across the whole village has actually helped him to bring those small changes.
Hmm.
So having those realistic examples, realistic understanding of field is very important. So my suggestion is will be to look upon to rural Indian studies if
I think
possible.
that's a wonderful suggestion, and I would 100% agree with it. I would also give a suggestion to people who are getting into service is this book. Leadership in Turbulent Times. I think
Ah,
you can
yes,
also
sir.
try this out. If you've not read it, let me know. I'll send you a copy. क्योंकि इसमें
Yes, sir.
what they talk about, or what the author talks about, is a very, very simple idea that, all the thing that transforms a good leader to a great leader is a personal challenge. In their life, they have seen a setback that is so severe that makes them question their own entire, worldview. And when they emerge out of it, then that good leader can be called a great leader because they know how to, deal with that level of a challenge. And personally, I feel, that's what it is. So with that, we'll end the session. Thank you, Priyanshu, for your time. It's been wonderful talking to
Thank you,
you.
sir. Thank you, sir, and also a big thanks to you to being my mentor and helping those small changes. And I hope that has paid me the result that was expected, and will be improving more. Will be
Happy
further
to
fine
help.
tuning things.
इस साल अगर
Yes,
अटेम्प्ट दे
sir.
रहे हो फिर से तो दोबारा करते हैं.
Yes, sir. Restarting, sir.
Absolutely. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.